Hello, universe. This is a breaking update because a tragedy has just occurred. Well, it occurred a few hours ago at the Dayton Airshow. And this is all over YouTube, I know. But there's some things I'm not entirely sure are being combined yet. And I'm going to put links below to show you what I'm talking about. So, at the Dayton Airshow earlier today, around the 12:30 time frame, somewhere abouts in that, Jane Wicker, who is a wing walker, which means she gets out on the plane and she moves about it while it's in flight. She uses no tether, no parachute, no support system whatsoever. She just purely does it by her strength of her body and her practice and effort. So she and her pilot are doing their show. She gets on the plane on the ground, climbs out of the cockpit. Once they're in the air, she climbs out of the cockpit, she walks across the wings. Then she proceeds to hold on to she climbs down or hangs underneath the wings by her feet, and then the plane does a 180 and goes upside down, and suddenly she's upright and she sits on the bottom of the plane while it's flying upside down. Well, at this point in the act, the plane has a twitch or something, a major engine malfunction, and it's not very far off the ground, but it's far enough, and it dives straight in the ground, explodes. And I'll show you the pure video so you can see it, because it is disturbing and sad. You could see her on the plane. You could see her motions, and I'm not trying to promote death because it's just very sad to see, but it's there. And I saw some interviews. I looked for some interviews with her after I heard about this. I looked for some interviews with her, and they're reporting right now on the news that it's Jane Wicker, the wing walker, and her pilot who died. And Jane had 2 children. Well, one of the interviews she did yesterday or the day before, I'm not sure what day it was. I think it was yesterday. She was preparing for this. She did 2 interviews that I saw. One with a news crew with 2 people, and one with a guy named Dan. I don't know what his last name was. But when Dan was interviewing her, keep in mind, she had 2 children. She owned the plane that she was doing this performance on. She was planning to get married. She has a fiance, and she's planning to get married. She was planning to get married on the wings of this plane, I guess, at another air show at some point. She has 2 kids. Here's the key. People are saying she's the one. They're saying her name, and they're not saying about the pilot dying. According to an interview she did yesterday, her pilot was her ex-husband. So in other words, these children didn't just lose their mother. If this was her only ex-husband before, and they could have lost a father of these children could have lost both of their parents in one crash. That is so sad, and it's so haunting. I can just see it, in my mind, just thinking about it and seeing the way the plane. You can see the plane. It never comes back upright. It stays like this, and then it just sort of. If I can do it right with my hand. It basically, she's flying like this. They're flying like this, sort of at an angle, and then he does a full 180 upside down. She's on the far end of the plane over here, and then the plane starts to just go like that, and then you can see the nose of it exploding, and then it engulfing the back part of the plane. It's whoever was operating the camera had an amazing ability to follow it. They were fortunate enough that someone did follow it, because it might help in the investigation to see what caused it. Very sad, though, about Jane Wicker and her husband. I do not know who her husband's name was, but they did say in the interview yesterday that the pilot is her husband, her ex-husband, which potentially means it could also be the father of her children. So, blessings to the entire family. That's just... to both families. But if this turns out to be the father of her children, those kids have a very difficult life to look ahead to. You know, adrenaline is one thing, and it's great to be doing it, and it's wonderful to do things that you can say, I did this, you know, I lived on top of it, and they did everything. I'm sure they were very precise and inspected their plane as much as possible. It just goes to show, no matter how much work you put into things, you never know when you might run into a challenge that you just can't expect. It's like, you know, just one hiccup, one twitch of the engine, you couldn't regain control of it, and it was over. Many blessings to the family, and I know that doesn't help, even if they see this, but cannot imagine what you're going through. Cannot even imagine, and those children, I have so much pain for you. I am truly, truly sad for your loss. I hope you find peace and remember that your mom, and if it was your dad, that they lived their life to the fullest they could. Yes, they are gone too soon, but none of us are promised tomorrow, even if we're sitting still. So be proud of what they did. Specifically, I know it was your mother, but if it was also your father, be proud of what they did, because they did something that very few people dare to do in the world. And I wish great peace and pride in knowing that your parents did something unique. Blessings to you. Enjoy your life, everybody. These moments will never come again. See you next time.